Hello everyone, this is the last part of the demo for the toggle bracelet. In the last video we assembled and soldered the chain. Next we need to make the clasp and connect it to our chain. A toggle clasp or T-bar is made of two parts, a ring or catch and a bar that passes through it. It is a clasp often used with chains, bracelets or necklaces. Here is the T-bar, a bar with a small jump ring soldered to it. And here is the catch, which is a large jump ring. This clasp is made out of thicker round wire, 2.3 millimeters. This is what we need for this specific chain, but the thickness of the wire depends on the size and weight of the chain you are making. The ratio between the bar and the ring is important to ensure the clasp is secure. The length of the bar should be equal to about 1.5 times the diameter of the ring. This is what it looks like. We need a few smaller jump rings made out of thinner wire to connect the clasp to the chain. You'll use 2 or 3 jump rings on each side. The 3 small jump rings attached to the bar need to be small enough to allow the T-bar to go through the ring. Next, I will show you how to construct the toggle. We used 2 millimeter round wire for the chain, but we'll use slightly thicker wire for the clasp, 2.3 millimeters. For the catch, we'll make a jump ring that's a bit larger than the links. For the bar, remember the length needs to be at least 1.5 times longer than the diameter of the catch. Measure carefully and cut with your pliers. You don't need to file the ends, you can do it later. You'll double check your measurements. So this is the bar and this is the catch, which is the large jump ring. We'll also add 3 small jump rings made out of thinner wire to each piece. Their size does not matter as long as they are slightly smaller than the links of your chain. And this assembly will then be connected and soldered to the chain. Now we'll prepare a connecting jump ring for the bar. With your plier, close a small jump ring as tightly as possible. File a flat spot right on the seam on the outside of the jump ring. Now we'll solder this jump ring to the bar. Make a groove on your charcoal block or brick. This is where the bar will be placed and it will stop it from rolling, and also it will allow the jump ring, which is thinner, to sit at the correct height. Place the jump ring against the bar right in the middle. You see that I measured and marked it, and make sure the flat spot is touching the bar. You can use a third hand to secure the whole thing. Flux and dry the flux lightly with the torch. Place a pillion of hard solder on the seam, and you will heat up the bar starting from the ends and moving towards the center and the jump ring. And then you focus on the seam until the solder flows into it. Make sure the 2 pieces stay in close contact. They should be touching. And then, once the solder has flowed, you turn the work over to check that the solder has gone all the way through. Now we are going to add the jump ring to the catch using the same technique as before for the bar. Close the jump ring tightly, file a flat spot on the outside of the seam, and place both pieces on your brick or charcoal block with the flat spot on the small jump ring touching the soldered seam of the catch. Flux, dry the flux lightly with the torch, make sure everything is lined up, and place a pillion of hard solder on the seam. And then you are going to heat up, focusing the flame on the larger jump ring until the solder flows. Remember, both jump rings have to be brought at the same temperature. So obviously the large jump ring needs more heat. This is why you'll focus on that one. And once the solder has flowed, again turn over, check the other side to make sure the solder is visible on the other side. Let's have a closer look, and yes, the solder is visible on the other side, so everything is fine. Next, we'll solder the clasp to the chain. Let's go back to our diagram first. We need 3 smaller jump rings between the bar and the chain. We already soldered one, so we need 2 more. And use a third hand to hold your work and hard solder. And you can use a pick if you like. As you know, the third hand acts as a heat sink and protects the soldered links, but you need to make sure you place your flame in the right spot to make the solder flow into the seam without melting the neighborhood links. You repeat the process to add the final jump ring. And then you'll inspect your seam, and that's it. Now we have 3 small jump rings connecting the bar to one end of the chain. These 3 small connecting jump rings allow the bar to slide into the catch. You'll repeat the same process to add 2 small jump rings to connect the catch to the other end of the chain and solder using the same technique. Our chain is assembled and soldered. The next step is cleaning and polishing. Only light cleaning should be needed. That means no filing, which is too drastic and would risk changing the size and shape of the wire. There are several tools that can be used instead for cleaning your chain. Let's have a look. Sanding can be done with sandpaper sticks of different grades. Always go to the finest grade before polishing. You can also use a roll of sandpaper on a mandrel with the flex shaft, but use it carefully to avoid leaving marks or dents in the wire. Other accessories can be used, for example, radial Brechault discs, rubber wheels. They come in different shapes and grades, but must be used with a lot of care, especially the coarser grades, which will remove metal and leave marks. Do not make any unwanted dent or mark. You must preserve the integrity of the wire. For your safety, do not polish your chain with a polishing motor. Use a tumbler instead, but before tumbling your chain, use the ultrasonic cleaner to remove any residue from sanding. Your work must be perfectly clean before it goes into the tumbler. Before using the ultrasonic, please check the handouts. Make sure you read the safety instructions as well. We have several different tumblers available. The barrel of the tumbler contains steel shots. You need to add water and salt to it. There are detailed instructions on the handouts. Please read them carefully. Okay, we're all done. Our chain has been tumbled. It is bright and shiny. The toggle clasp works. The bar can be inserted into the catch easily, but it cannot slip out. So it is perfectly secure, and it should also be the right size. Thanks for watching.